Hello there and welcome back to the Cozy Club, my friends. It is a beautiful day for a little bit of DSA and good morning to you. The siege on Olympus has finally fallen after 4 days going against the T4 raid, guys, and it was an absolute blast. We came out of the other side knowing a whole lot more than what we did going in, and there's a lot to take away and a lot that we learned from going against the Titans. The biggest and the baddest amongst all of this was the fear harmful effect, and that is what today's video is going to be all about. Now, I have a Twitter and I post a lot of different things that I find and little videos here and there just to update people on different things I find throughout the game that don't necessarily need a video, but this one, I've gotten enough questions that I think it definitely does. I get questions all of the time of what fear does, what is potency, what is tenacity. And so in today's video, we're going to break all those things down and talk about why fear is by far the most important harmful effect in the entire raid for the most part, and something you want to ensure that you have, and look at your roster and see how your fear characters are doing. Previously to this, they weren't important. Now, big deal. We got a lot to go over, so let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Alrighty, Cozy Club, well, let's go ahead and get to the fear class of DSA, the master class about fear itself and tenacity and potency. Now, for those that don't know or haven't seen my harmful effect guide that I'll pop in the top right hand corner, this little ghost that you have all seen, you ever wonder what this guy does? Well, this is fear, and fear is going to all but guarantee your chance to land harmful effects on the enemy, whether it be a PvP character or going up against a raid boss. This is going to take away the ability, for the most part, for them to resist any harmful effects that you're going to be placing on them. Now, I get questions all the time about two very important stats, tenacity and potency. And on today's video, we're going to break those two down. We've got a lot to talk about with fear, and this is one of those videos that's going to help you out massively understand the different mechanics, especially if you're struggling in the new raid. Now, fear is the most important harmful effect in the raid, and we've talked about it before. But let's talk about potency and let's talk about tenacity. Now, I pulled up RANDALL BOGGS here, who is going to be a great example as he can imply fear, and we're going to go ahead and talk about both potency and tenacity. Now, starting with RANDALL BOGGS, we have potency, which if you go over potency, it's going to say the chance to successfully apply a harmful effect. You guys can't see it behind me, but that's essentially what it is. Potency is going to give you a better chance. The higher the number of the percentage, the better chance you have to inflict harmful effects. This is going to be important for those characters, especially villains like Ursula, Hades, and, Dr. Facilier, that put harmful effects on different characters. Whereas tenacity is the ability to resist harmful effects, right? So you've got characters. A great visual example is someone like Beast with a very high level of tenacity, and you combine that with the Enchanted Roses, and you're never landing a harmful effect on that guy. That's why you can't polymorph him. That's why you can't silence him. Beast is a beast when it comes to tenacity. And so right off the bat, guys, you have harmful effects trying to be applied on characters, and potency is going to help you with that, and tenacity is going to help you resist that, which takes us to the raid bosses. With the raid bosses all together, you've got these massive raid titans, and even in the Forbidden Depths, they have massive amounts of tenacity. And if you go and even look and dive into it a little bit more, we've got the Rock Titan guide coming here very momentarily. But the Rock Titan has a mass, and I mean a crazy amount of tenacity. His tenacity is through the roof. And on top of that, he gives tenacity to the other Titans during the raid until he has been slain. And so what that does is it makes it a whole lot harder to land any harmful effects. And fear, if you guys want to know, obviously what we've said before, almost guarantees the chance to lay those harmful effects out. And so you guys are already kind of putting it two to two together. We're no mathematicians here, but you put on the fear on the boss for the first time, and you're going to have a lot better chance throwing those harmful effects like slow, offense down, and all those other great harmful effects that you want to land. But before that, you're going to have little to no success trying to stick a harmful effect on these very difficult raid bosses. Now, with the bosses having a lot more tenacity and such high tenacity, it makes it a lot more difficult to inflict fear to begin with. Like, just because you have fear doesn't mean you're going to land it every time, as that has to initially hit the potency tenacity check, which 9 times out of 10, you're not going to land the fear because the tenacity is just too high. Now, if you land the fear, then bam, you're going to be great to land the rest of them. But where we're going with all of this is, which characters in the game can currently inflict a harmful effect that, frankly, not a lot of people cared about, and which ones are the best at it, and who should you focus on taking in and separating into as many teams as possible to get the fear on the Titans so you can land slow and really manipulate with turn meter and do all the things that you want to do in the raid, which is going to lead to much more higher damage attempts and much better, higher success rates in your overall raid runs that you guys are doing. Now, currently, we've had this graphic here for a while, and it hasn't been updated as not a lot of characters outside of Dale have come with fear that are newer, but you have characters like Jack, Sally, Oogie Boogie, the MBC3, Big Baby, you've got Lotso, of course, Randall and Chunk, and then you have Soli and also Dale, like we talked about. Those are the characters that can inflict fear on the enemy team, and there's a few spells as well. Now, the problem with this is the characters that we just mentioned, they're great, but let me take you over here for a second. They're going to be solid, but at the same time, they're not guaranteed by any means to land that fear. Now, Randall having about a 25% potency or 28% potency, and Soli with a 25% AoE fear potency are some of your better fear kind of layers out there of that harmful effect, and they're going to be your better options overall because the rest of them have lower potency than that, and they're not going to have much of a chance against the Rock Titan. Now, I'm excited to talk about this next part. You know, there's a sportscaster that I watch named Colin Coward, and Colin Coward has this segment where Colin was right and where Colin was wrong, and I'm going to do the same thing with where Cozy was wrong. You know, Cozy Club, with the Sorcerers chosen, there's a lot to go through and a lot to kind of digest, and we tried our best to rank these before going into the new raid. I wanted to get those recommendations out there, but I owe an apology. I owe an apology to one massive character, and that is why this video was made in the first place. There are going to be a few things that you guys need to make sure you do with this new raid, and we've got kind of a, you know, we're going to be giving out MVP awards, but we've got some fear inflictors that are so massive, and because fear is so important in this new raid, guys, Jack Skellington is owed a big apology. Jack Skellington is showing himself to be one of the most efficient and effective Sorcerer chosens to go into the new Siege on Olympus raid. The reason for it is, maybe let's go ahead and check it out. Is it his potency? It's only 28%, not much higher than Randall, or not any higher than Randall to put the fear out there. Why is Jack Skellington so important, especially against the Rock Titan? And why am I recommending so many people to get him if you're struggling with the Rock Titan in general and other attempts on the raid? Well, you see, Cozy Club, there's a couple characters that got kind of hidden updates. Jack Skellington wasn't so hidden. One was massively hidden. We're going to get to that in a moment. But Scary Face, if we break down what Scary Face says, pretty much you're going to be putting on fear for 2 turns. That's great, right? In the raids, it's going to be 4 turns. Okay, so just like anyone else, it would be having a potency check. If you're in PvP, you would have a 28% chance against the tenacity to lay down the fear. However, Jack Skellington has a 200 bonus potency chance. That is what is crazy. That is what the massive difference is within the raids. Jack Skellington has such a big chance to land fear. It's pretty much unavoidable. Within the raids, 200% is all but guaranteed. And you're going to be able to put the fear on no matter who it is, whatever Titan it might be. You're going to land fear and you're going to land heal block. And that's going to open up massive opportunities to get rid of turn meter, because turn meter reduction and gain is also affected by tenacity and potency. In addition to that, you could be doing so much more with harmful effects on the field. And that's really where Jack Skellington, we kind of missed it. We didn't see, I could definitely say I was wrong because I didn't see the potency and the fear playing such a big role. But with these Titans having so much tenacity, this is such a key ability and something that cannot be talked about enough. Between that and the assigning of taunt on someone like Hercules, these are some of the raid attempts that we were able to do and some of the scoring. You guys can see how high we've scored on some of these with Jack Skellington. By far, Jack Skellington and Scary Face, big apology there, because without question, him inflicting fear, again, I've told you guys, things are bound to evolve, but fear-based mechanics in the raid is just going to be so essential, and you guys will continue to see that as you attempt the raids yourself. Now, there's a few other things I want to talk about. We talked about the characters that can inflict fear, but there's also a couple of spells, and I don't know how this was missed. It was missed pretty massively, but there was a giant update and a giant buff to the Headless Horseman spell, which is going to be making it one of the top spells that you want to invest in, especially if you're going after the raid. This is what someone coined the golden ticket. This is the spell when it comes to being efficient in the new Siege on Olympus, and for that matter, the Forbidden Depths. Here is a side-by-side of all the ability upgrades and the description of the Headless Horseman. As you guys can see, massive changes here. On a big level, you're going to not get any more damage increase, which you didn't need anyway. And you're getting 150 potency at level 2 for the Headless Horseman. Very easy beginner spell to get, and even easier to get to level 2. Level 3 was the level 4 upgrade, and giving you a 75% chance to inflict silence for 1 turn. As you guys know, absolutely massive against the tornadoes. We've talked about that against the ice spikes. But in addition, if you upgrade this to level 4, it has another plus 100% potency, leading to 250% potency. My friends, this is a massive difference, and you can see the difference of what they changed. This was not announced. I don't know why for such an impactful spell. You know, I'll say it right now, there's a few things, for whatever reason, the developers, it slipped their mind or whatever in the patch notes, which I don't think should happen. But Hercules got a speed buff. Darkwing Duck got a speed buff. You've got Yokai and Hades all getting a little bit of speed buffs that wasn't announced. I want to go ahead and kind of announce that for everybody, as well as the Headless Horseman spell. There's no reason that the Headless Horseman spell and Jack Skellington should ever be on the same team, because these are going to be your 2 golden tickets to always apply fear on the field. Jack Skellington obviously gets the advantage because he can place it with an ability, whereas you have to wait for the spell. But both of these are going to make it a heck of a lot easier to break those tenacity checks, land the fear, and altogether, I want to say a couple things about potency. It seems inconsistent a little bit. Rock and Lily, they can do slows pretty easily with their vine maneuvers for whatever reason. But another spell that doesn't have it guaranteed, but Wild Imagination, another spell that can inflict fear on the battlefield, and I'm starting to see it have a better potency check than some of the other characters do. We don't know what the exact numbers are, but this is another spell that you want to consider taking in if you want to land slows, especially on characters like the Fire Titan that need to have it to kind of limit what they can do. So again, Kelsey Club, that was essentially the video. I wanted to talk about the importance of fear, the importance of Jack Skellington and the Headless Horseman, and then of course adding in those other characters that can inflict it as well for your best chance. So it looks like Randall, Solely, Jack Skellington, Headless Horseman, and Wild Imagination are the 5 ways that you want to split up fear, especially going against the Rock Titan. We have so many raid videos left to go, guys. Go ahead and comment down below. How are your attempts going? What tier are you guys attempting? And what Titan do you find the hardest? That's going to be the question of the day. Want to hear from you guys. If you guys want to support the channel, like today's video. It helps a lot bring awareness to important videos like this. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the Cozy Club today. Guys, do not sleep on fear. Don't sleep on it so you can inflict sleep with fear being on the board. Lame joke, but you get the point. You guys have an incredible rest of your day, and until the next video, my friends, stay Cozy Club.